My agent wasn't really that good. She never explained anything. She said, just sign here. Infantry officers, we don't like doing stuff like that. I'm like, I need to know every step of this process.
Nobody sat me down and talked about entitlement. How are you going to plan this? You're trying to get a real estate portfolio. Like you buy here, you buy here. Okay, your third move, you might be out of entitlement.
I was PCSing, so I had no time. I was like, go ahead, let's just do it. Offer price was not what I wanted. None of the stuff was what I wanted, but I didn't have any time. So I was like, whatever.
So we got Alex today. Him and I were in the Army at the same time, both infantry guys. And he kind of got out around Savannah area, did some time in the 82nd, and then came down here. And he kind of specializes in working with veterans, service members, as well as doing some investment stuff. So Alex, with that, man, I'll pass the baton to you. Can you run us through a little bit of how you got into real estate and what got you started on this journey?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on, by the way. Love talking about the origin story. So I bought my first house in 2021. So right before COVID kind of went really nutty with the market. And my agent wasn't really that good. Luckily, nothing happened. She never explained anything. She said, just sign here. And I was like, oh, God. And like infantry officers, we don't like doing stuff like that. I'm like, I need to know every step of this process, risks, all the shit, right? No. So I was like, whatever. So I signed it. Luckily, I got lucky. It worked out great, right? And then I moved to the Savannah area, and I did not really work well with my agent. And I was like, it got to the point where I almost was like, hey, can we terminate? I know that's a thing because I have my license now. So I'm like, we're not jiving, and I don't know why. And she was like, hey, that house that you like, they responded. And I was like, all right, whatever. I was PSing, so I had no time. I was like, go ahead, let's just do it. Offer price was not what I wanted. None of the stuff was what I wanted, but I didn't have any time. So I was like, whatever. So then I got down here, and when I started looking at getting med boarded and transitioning out, I was like, wow, I do have a license. And I was actively doing off-market investing with another veteran buddy of mine, completely separate kind of situation. And so I brought my license down here because it was still active in North Carolina. And I started just kind of working with people, learning about real estate, and just kind of doing it before I really knew I was getting out. But I kind of saw the warnings might be there. And then I started to realize, I didn't really have a good experience with my realtors. When I was doing off-market stuff, I realized there's a lot of investors that are also kind of shady. They'll be like, oh, yeah, your house is only worth $100K, so I'll give you $50K for it. I'm like, whoa, don't get me wrong. There were some people that were like, I will take that. And I was like, cool. But I like to give everyone the option and be transparent because at the end of the day, if I can do all of it, I'll just do whatever they want and I'll still make a living. And at least it's the right way to me. So that's kind of how I got into doing real estate. Was I was like, hey, maybe I want to try this out, right? Set a higher standard. And so where we are now is I'm trying to push hey, being a real estate advisor, because I'm trying to show, especially my agents on the team, dude, buying and selling houses is a fraction of what we do. We are actually really valuable to a lot of people, but a lot of agents don't know how to explain that, right? So that's kind of where we're at. And you mentioned military clients. That feeds into what I'm doing very well, because I never had a real estate advisor tell me, hey, idiot, this is how your VA loan works. This is how this is going to work if you buy here. In the next 2 years, you can buy again. Does that make sense? Are you going to move into, you know what I mean? Nobody did that. It was just yeah, I got lucky. I got kind of lucky. Nothing bad happened. Whoa. So I'm trying to be that guy that's hey, dude, Sam, you don't want to buy a house for 3 years? I don't give a shit. Call me right now. Let's talk. I will put things in motion. I will connect you with people so that you can have info. And if you change your mind, let me know. But in 3 years, we'll be ready to go. But again, that hasn't been working out as well as I wanted it to. So
no, I got you. And I'm in a similar boat, Alex, as far as Kate and I just, she bought our first home while I was in Ranger School. No idea about real estate investing, anything like that. I told her I wanted a garage and I wanted it to back up to the woods. And we got both things, right? For years. Yeah. And then, it started making sense as an investment property after we lived in it. But it's the same sort of deal, man. Nobody sat me down and talked about entitlement. Hey, how are you going to plan this? You're trying to get a real estate portfolio. You buy here, you buy here. Okay, your third move, you might be out of entitlement. Let's start planning for that so that you can have down payment ready when you go to move, because those are some tough conversations I have with folks when they're getting ready to move and they're like, hey, I'm going to use my VA loan. It's well,
what VA loan?
If you're going to put 50, 75 grand because you're out of entitlement by a large margin, and then we start, a lot of times that's not an option. So then they have to go conventional, and then the interest rate suffers significantly, right?
Right.
So yeah, just prior planning is huge if you're going to do it and take it seriously, right? And try and use it to the best of your ability.
Dude, being a military service member, and then, I mean, obviously getting to a certain rank is kind of important, but once you get to that rank, man, like, dude, where else can you have like a 15-year track where you will basically be incentivized to buy homes strategically where you are required to work and live? And in some cases, like years ago, I had a buddy that went out to Hawaii, and I didn't even know anything about real estate, but I was like, hey, dude, if you can figure out how to buy a house there, you will do what most of us will never get an opportunity to do, which is own property in Hawaii, which is where you are because you're stationed, which means that you can rent that out to another Army guy when you leave. And I was like, you will never have to get rid of that house. And he was like, I don't feel like looking. And I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. We'll just waste our opportunity.
Yeah.